I have a problem. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I am apparently allergic to a certain type of fake blood. Thank God I didn't put it all over my face, am I right? Ha, psych, I did do that. Don't be like me. Don't be a silly little goose. Do your allergy test. But that was not the problem I was referring to. Instead, I am referring to my physical to be read list. Whoever said that buying books and actually reading books are two very different hobbies had it spot on, and I am the primary example of this phenomenon because I have, I think, about 50 books on my physical TBR in my apartment, on my chair, off camera right now, and today I'm gonna ask you to hold me accountable for the future. I'm gonna go through all my physical TBR books, kind of rapid fire, and I rely on you to not make me buy any more books, okay? I only read like 30 books a year. At this point, I'm set for the next 2 years. I don't want to admit that to myself, but that's what it's looking like. So we're just gonna go through the books right now, and then I'll have someone, you, to keep me accountable. You are different. You are special. You are gonna hold me accountable for every book I buy beyond these like 50 books, hopefully. I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. Oh, this is so embarrassing. It looks like so much on the chair. Stack 1. Let's just get through that, shall we? Putting it on my lap, hoping it doesn't fall over. I feel like the problem is that I start way too many books and then I forget about them and never finish them. And I think I do the same thing with television shows, actually. Like, I never finished Chilling Adventures of Sabrina season 4. I just stopped at like episode 8 and then forgot it existed. It's been 2 weeks since I watched any Buffy after finishing the season finale for season 3. Maybe the books are just symptom of a larger problem here, but we're not getting into that right now. Let's just go through these books. Anyways, the first category we are discussing here is the haven't started yet category. Starting off with a banger, I did get this yesterday. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. This is The Virgin Suicides. Can't wait to read this. I just needed it on my physical TBR because I know I want to get around to reading that eventually, unlike some of the other books on this pile, which I just buy for intellect's sake. Dracula, A Gift from a Lovely Friend. Can't wait to read this. It is very thick though. It's a little scary. It's a little intimidating. We Were Liars. I'm actually lying to you right now because I am reading this, but I'm still putting this on the not started pile because when I first wrote this script or like planned this video, I didn't start it yet. And meanwhile, I have started it. You weren't supposed to know that. So that's We Were Liars. I thrifted Lolita the other day, and I also thrifted this book called City of Girls. Seems like another depressed hot girl read. I like that. I'm into that. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo was a birthday gift from a friend. Can't wait to read this as well. It's very high on the list. I have The Woman in Black, which was my gift to myself for starting my school semester again. I want to get myself a book at the start of every semester in the bookstore opposite my school. So I got this. I have Inventing the Victorians. I would have read this and devoured this by now if only the print wasn't so tiny. Literally, what is this? Why is the print so tiny? So we'll see about that. And then we have the Iliad. If you know, you know. I think the thing that scares me most about the Iliad is that I have some really big like Iliad stan friends. One of my friends literally joked that the Iliad is the only book ever written and every other book is just the Iliad in another form. Terrifying. If I do read this, it will be fueled by my need to be a pretentious reader and less about my curiosity about the Iliad. Just adding that most of these books are for intellect tokens, and you know what? That's a perfectly valid way to read. If you want to read classics just to feel better than other people, go ahead. At least you're reading. Pile 2 of the haven't started. We have Northanger Abbey, Gothic horror icon, can't wait. Or Gothic icon, pretty much same, I use those interchangeably. A Treasury of British Folklore. Now this seems very interesting. This was a Christmas gift last Christmas from a friend. This is so pretty though, like with all the wood carvings and the cover. She's gorgeous. One day she's gonna look really fine on my big bookshelf. Then I have the Ophelia Girls, which I have taken the cover off of that. I always take the cover off as soon as I can because usually there's a black book underneath and that fuels my aesthetic. So I know, it's shame on me. Then I have this book called Vanity Dies Hard. I thrifted this, but I do intend on reading it because 1950s housewives seems very on brand. Before I Fall, this used to be my favorite movie. It's not anymore, but when I was a teen, this was my favorite movie. And I think I've read this before, but I am intending on actually rereading it. Oh, I think I started it actually. There's a playing card in there. Cool. Philosophy 101. Fun fact, Lana Del Rey was a metaphysics major in university, and whenever she mentions philosophy, it makes me want to learn philosophy. So I got this, and hopefully I'll get my pretentious points out of it. Then we have Homesick for Another World, TikTok Hot Girl book, what can I say? Then I got The Haunting Season, which I also got yesterday. I picked up like 3 books yesterday just because I got a big tax return, and my toxic trait is getting a good chunk of money and then walking to Waterstones. I just feel this like intrinsic need to be the hottest girl in the bookstore, and for that you actually have to go to a bookstore, which is very dangerous considering I will walk out with new books. And then I also have thrifted legendary authors and the clothes they wore. This had Joan Didion on the dust sleeve, so I had to get it. Also, the spine is very nice, will look good on a bookshelf. Can't wait. Let's finish off the not started category, shall we? This is the final bit for the haven't started. It's definitely strange because I recall the piles being way higher the first few times I filmed this. It's still definitely the same amount of books though. Like, I don't know where I'm getting this from. Sprinkle of delusion into your video, I suppose. Here we have White Teeth by Zadie Smith, gift from a friend. This was a surprise gift, and I'm very excited to read it because she was very excited about it and made it sound really good. But to be honest, I do think this cover is a little bit horrendous. The color like patchwork theme does make me want to throw myself into a volcano, but I will read it. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is all over my TikTok feed, and when I saw this in my grocery store for $4.50, I just had to pick it up, so I did. I guess my other toxic trait is checking my grocery store book aisle knowing full well that whatever book is trending on TikTok will be there for $4.50 and then picking it up anyways. Moving on, we have The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. This was very hyped up on TikTok, so I bought it pretty much immediately, only to find out she's very thick in the thighs, thick in the waist. You could say that is thick in all the right places, but it just intimidates me. Then I have The Goldfinch. Don't revoke my Dark Academia pass for not reading this yet. I will get around to it eventually. She's just scaring me once again. And then finally in this category we have Desperate Romantics. I love the Pre-Raphaelites. I love the Romantic era. So very hyped for this. Now let's move into the category I like to call reference books. Okay, I hope you see this. So my definition of reference book is kind of as follows. A reference book is a book that is usually it's like short stories or like a very thick volume of all of someone's noteworthy poetry. Like you're not gonna wake up one day and go, oh, let me read 1,000 pages of Byron's poetry. Or maybe you will, I'm assuming it's a very rare mood, but mainly these books are just meant to like reference in and out and then eventually you'll finish them. But I think for me, most of these books are more about having the poetry on my shelf to reference and get back to. And it's not really a book that I'll sit down and read. Anyways, let's go through the reference books now. First of all, we have the major works of Byron. I don't really like these Oxford World Classics that much. I'm more of a Penguin gal myself. I thought this was the Penguin. It's the Oxford, which is fine. I just think the spines are uglier than, say, these ones. I like the black spines a lot more. Then next up, I have the Penguin Book of Romantic Poetry. As I said before, I love the Romantics. I'm running out of space to put all these books. I have all of Shelley's poetry, Penguin version. Then I have the Penguin Book of the Undead, very spooky kind of read. I just recently discovered that Penguin has all these book of kind of occult spooky themes, so very excited to be reading and collecting those as soon as I finish these books, obviously. Ooh, the stack is reaching the camera now. Next up, I have fashion history from the 18th to the 20th century. I haven't really included my coffee table books in this video except for this one. This one is also mainly pictures, but since this is like small book format and it's not like a big chunky coffee table book, I'm including it in here anyways. Then I have Victorian and Edwardian fashion, a photographic survey. This was a gift from my parents, actually. Thank you, parents. Same for the previous book. Thank you, parents, for supporting my addiction. Then we're gonna see a little bit of the Queen's Gambit's impact. I have Mastering the Chess Openings Volume 1 and Volume 2 here. I know, don't get too excited. This is how I get all the boys. I just show them that I have Volume 1 and 2 out of 4 of Mastering the Chess Openings, and it just does the trick, you know? Anyways, there are chapters in these that I've studied like quite intensely. Look at that. Maybe one day I can still reach Grandmaster status, who knows? And then finally in the reference book category, I have Audrey Style. I like Audrey Hepburn's style, so I have a book on it. I think this was also a vintage find as well. Let's move on to the books I have started. Let's start, shall we? So some of these books do belong in the other categories as well. They all have one thing in common. I started them and then promptly forgot about them. First of all, I have the Dead Poets Society. Love the movie. Let me actually get that stack out of the way first. I don't like that it's in the shop. To be fair, I do think I have an equal amount of like books that I've read in my shelves. So I think it evens out. Those are the words of an addict speaking, by the way. Next I have Witchcraft: A History. I started this in 2019 and then forgot about it. It was really interesting though. So I do intend to read it. However, back when I started reading again in 2019, 2020, I had this whole superiority complex of not reading fiction books and only reading non-fiction books. So I kind of set myself up for failure, and now I have so many like non-fiction books that are very hard to understand, and I discovered that fiction actually is good and useful. This is one of those like non-fiction books that kind of set me up. And the same goes for the next book, which is Freud. I don't know why I started reading in English again, and then for my third book I was like, I'm gonna read Freud. When I revisited this a month ago, it was way easier to read because my reading comprehension has like skyrocketed since reading again. But for my third book, I was setting myself up for failure. Also, Freud never knows when to shut up. Then I have The Social Photo. This is relatively thin and very interesting so far. This was also a birthday gift from someone. Then we have this Penguin book of Pre-Raphaelite poetry. My favorite type of poetry, romantic Pre-Raphaelite. I'm actually pretty far in this. And at once I had a very good habit of like reading a little bit every night, and then I forgot again. Then we have F. Scott Fitzgerald's Flappers and Philosophers. I was on a big 1920s binge in like early January of this year. Read like 4 of these stories, got like 100 pages in, but she's chonky, and then I got intimidated. Then we have Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. Then I have Viking Age. I wanted to get immersed in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla world before the game came out. Then I have a controversial book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. This is all over my TikTok feed, so I just wanted to see what like the hype kind of was about. And then finally I have this book called Glamour Magic, which... Are you serious? I was gonna say I'm enjoying it. That's fine, I illustrated my point, that's all I needed. Next category. So here I have the second to last category, which I like to call cheating at Goodreads, because these are all skinny legend books that you can use to inflate your Goodreads reading challenge. Not that I've ever done that, obviously. Anyways, 2 of these are actually for academic purposes, because I'm a big suck up and I like quoting books outside of my uni's reading list, so I look extra smart. So I have 2 very thin books here that I thought could accomplish just that. First of those 2 is Conspicuous Consumption, and second of all is The Psychology of Fashion. Then I have this little Oscar Wilde quote book called Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast. It's basically just a bunch of quotes to use as Instagram captions. Gift from a friend, once again, thank you. One day I'm gonna sit down and read this, and then boom, extra book on my Goodreads score. Not that I would ever do that, obviously. Then I have Love Letters of Great Men, Sweet Dark, little poetry book. I really love these National Gallery A Closer Look At books. So I have A Closer Look at Saints, and I also have A Closer Look at Angels. And then finally in this category, I got this one yesterday. This is the last book I got yesterday, I promise. This is Books versus Cigarettes by George Orwell. And then The End is Nigh, The End is in Sight. There's only 3 more books left, and this is the category I like to call books I'm reading for videos. Very straightforward. I don't know why I made like a whole naming thing out of that. First one I have right here is Sonnets from the Portuguese. If you're on my Instagram, you know what the context is for this book and why I'm reading it for a video. I'm not telling you on YouTube though. Figure it out yourself. And then I have Neil Gaiman's Fragile Things. And then before I go into the last book, I'm gonna have to tell Clara, my friend, to click off. Go. You're done with this video. You're done. You're done. Okay, I'm assuming she's gone now. So, me and my friend Clara, we're annotating poetry books for each other. She's already finished mine, and I keep forgetting about this thing, which we don't want to discuss, but this is the poetry book I'm annotating for her. It's taken me so long because I've taken to drawing every kind of wildlife mentioned in the book in the margins. But yeah, eventually this is hopefully going to be a video where we exchange the books, and it'll be like cute. So that's pretty much the end of this video. From here on out, I expect you to hold me accountable and make sure I don't buy any more books. Because as you can see, I have enough to read. Keep me accountable, please. That's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. For the last few videos, I keep forgetting to mention that all of those things will help me out on my YouTube journey. Consider it said now. I will see you in the next video. Bye!